Imagine waking up in Canada to shocking news. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump plans to make Canada the 51st state. Speculation runs wild. Could he be serious? And would he use economic or military pressure? For Canadians, the idea seems absurd, yet Trump's recent comments have sparked heated debates. In this video, we'll examine his statements, the historical ties between the U.S. and Canada, and the possible consequences of such an unprecedented move. Trump's controversial comments. The situation began to gain traction on December 18, 2024, when Trump posted on his social media platform, Truth Social, claiming that the U.S. was subsidizing Canada to the tune of $100 million annually. Trump questioned why this arrangement continued, asserting that many Canadians might prefer joining the U.S. to escape high taxes and benefit from American military protection. His post concluded with a bold declaration: 51st state! Initially, these comments were dismissed as another one of Trump's off-the-cuff remarks. However, things escalated when, on January 7, 2025, Trump doubled down during a press briefing. While ruling out military intervention, he hinted at the possibility of using economic measures to annex Canada. Trump argued that such a move would enhance national security and eliminate the artificial border between the two countries. Adding fuel to the fire, Trump claimed to have discussed the idea with outgoing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. According to Trump, Trudeau allegedly acknowledged Canada's dependence on U.S. subsidies, though Trudeau later denied these claims. The Canadian leader responded firmly, stating that the annexation of Canada into the U.S. was not going to happen. Trudeau emphasized Canadians' strong sense of national identity, which he argued revolves around not being American. A historical perspective on U.S.-Canada relations. While the idea of annexing Canada might sound outlandish today, history reveals several instances where the U.S. attempted to expand its territory northward. During the American Revolution, U.S. forces launched an invasion of Quebec in 1775, briefly capturing Montreal. However, a disastrous march through freezing conditions decimated the troops before they could secure Quebec City. This failed attempt marked the first of many territorial skirmishes. Another notable conflict occurred during the War of 1812. This time, tensions were fueled by British interference in American trade and forced conscriptions. The war ultimately reaffirmed Canada's sovereignty, with the two nations agreeing to peaceful coexistence in the years that followed. However, the idea of annexing Canadian territory persisted in American political circles throughout the 19th century. One particularly audacious plan, known as War Plan Red, was devised by the U.S. in the 1930s. This strategy outlined a hypothetical invasion of Canada, detailing a three-pronged assault targeting major cities like Toronto, Montreal, and Halifax. The plan never came to fruition, but its existence underscores a historical undercurrent of American expansionism toward its northern neighbor. Could military force be an option? While Trump has stated that military force is not on the table, it's worth considering how such a scenario might play out if the U.S. were to change its stance. In terms of sheer military might, the United States vastly outmatches Canada. According to Global Firepower's rankings, the U.S. possesses the world's most powerful military, while Canada ranks 28th. The disparity in manpower is staggering, with the U.S. boasting over 1.3 million active service members compared to Canada's 68,000. The imbalance extends to equipment as well. The U.S. operates thousands of advanced aircraft, tanks, and naval assets, dwarfing Canada's modest arsenal. While Canada could rely on NATO for support, the organization's response might be complicated by the fact that both nations are members. An American invasion could trigger Article 5 of NATO's charter, requiring collective defense. However, such a scenario could create unprecedented challenges for the alliance, potentially fracturing its unity. Even if military intervention seems unlikely, the mere speculation highlights the precarious balance of power in North America. The geopolitical fallout from such an action would be immense, with countries like Russia and China capitalizing on the chaos to further their own agendas. The economic front, Trump's likely weapon of choice. Given the military complications, Trump is more likely to pursue economic measures to pressure Canada into submission. Tariffs, for instance, could be a key tool in his arsenal, especially given the extensive trade ties between the two nations. The United States and Canada share one of the world's largest trading relationships, with bilateral trade exceeding $900 billion annually. Imposing heavy tariffs on Canadian goods would undoubtedly strain the nation's economy, creating significant hurdles for Canadian businesses reliant on U.S. markets. However, this approach wouldn't be without consequences for the U.S., as American consumers and importers would also feel a pinch of increased costs on Canadian imports like lumber, energy, and agricultural products. Trump could also explore other economic levers, such as capping payments for Canadian energy exports, a move that would mirror the financial caps imposed on Russian oil during its invasion of Ukraine. Canada supplies roughly 60% of the crude oil imported by the U.S., making it a critical energy partner. Limiting payments for these imports or imposing additional tariffs could deliver a significant blow to Canada's economy, particularly its energy sector, which plays a substantial role in national revenue. While Canada might seek alternative markets such as Europe or Asia, building these new trade relationships would take time and investment, leaving the country vulnerable to immediate financial instability. Additionally, this economic warfare could strain the already delicate balance of North American trade, leading to rippling effects across other industries and potentially destabilizing regional economies. What would a U.S.-controlled Canada look like? If Trump were to succeed in annexing Canada, the cultural and political landscape of the nation would undergo a seismic shift. Canada's cherished publicly funded healthcare system would likely be replaced with privatized American models, a change that many Canadians would find not only impractical but deeply unpalatable. The thought of lengthy bills for doctor visits and surgeries would starkly contrast with Canada's pride in universal healthcare access. Similarly, the country's stringent gun control laws, a hallmark of its safety and identity, would likely give way to the more permissive U.S. regulations, sparking significant controversy and unease among citizens. Politically, Canada's provinces and territories could be transformed into American states or large counties, drastically altering their governance structures and reducing the autonomy Canadians value. While Trump claims that many Canadians support the idea of annexation, polls and public sentiment suggest otherwise. Canadians take immense pride in their distinct cultural identity, often defining themselves as not American, and any attempt to merge the two nations would likely face fierce resistance, from grassroots protests to political opposition. The global backlash. An American annexation of Canada would not occur in a vacuum. Such an action would draw sharp criticism from the international community, including allies like Britain, Australia, and New Zealand, who would likely rally in Canada's defense through economic and logistical support. The move could also irreparably damage America's reputation, painting it as an imperialistic power willing to undermine its closest allies for territorial gain. Russia and China, always quick to capitalize on U.S. missteps, would seize the opportunity to portray America as a hypocritical aggressor, bolstering their own narratives to justify their actions in contested regions like Ukraine and Taiwan. They could point to the annexation as evidence of Western double standards, further polarizing global politics. The global fallout from such a move would have long-lasting implications for America's relationships with other nations, potentially isolating it on the world stage and weakening its influence in international affairs. Even traditional allies in Europe might begin to question their ties to a country willing to rewrite borders, leaving the U.S. more diplomatically vulnerable than ever before. Thanks for watching. If Canada ever does become the 51st state, let's hope they bring Tim Hortons and poutine to every corner of the U.S., because that's the real diplomacy we all need. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, because this could be the most amazing discussion you've seen today.